moving along. So we have the speaker level output control. Okay, so there's this up here, which is the level control. But maybe I should save this till later. But we've also got, for the outputs of the amplifier itself, which goes to the house mix, a level control. But we'll come back to that, okay? I think they're just referring to this particular guy for the moment. It's also got a analog 3-band EQ for speaker output. So that would be just for this guy, I'm assuming, because the digital EQ will affect the output of the entire amp to the house mix, but this guy won't. So on stage you can have either a low, mid, and high, and control your own sound on stage, which is nice because you're not, anytime you make a change, you're not doing it to the house mix out front, right? That would drive the house tech crazy if you did that all the time on them. So flexible that way. You kind of get the two EQ levels of coming out of the sound. Memories and settings here. So you've got let's go back here. So channel 1 and 2. Well, let's go to main output, right? And you notice that the little 2 LEDs went off. So I've got it set to operate a little bit differently with a foot switch. So right now I'm kind of back to the default spot, meaning that if I go to click one of these buttons, it's going to choose a memory store that I have, right? So right now, there's 2, there's 3. Get it a little bit louder in that one. That's more silent, but the same. This is quite loud. So I've got all these set up for different scenarios. So that allows you to toggle, and you can go back and forth with these guys, right? Now your foot switch will also enable these to go back and forth with your presets as well too, right? So then we've got now if I went back to this scenario that I had set up, which was what did I have it? I had it at, say, 1 to 4 there. You notice the LEDs come on again, right? But now what's going to happen, I'm going to take off A. Guitar's gone silent, right? Now I'm going to put it back on. Guitar's back, and effects are off. So basically, when I hook up a foot switch, I can shut them both off at the same time, and or just have the guitar coming out with no effects. So pretty cool. I'm for the moment going to go back to the mains again, and just the main output. Okay, so we went through the memory things. Now let's go back to our main page. So I'm going to toggle through the main page settings. So you got a few menus. You got the main mix, you got the aux mix, you got the delay, you got the reverb, you got the main mix, back to the main mix again. Now, those are the pages with that button. Now, while I'm in the main mix, if I hit parameter, I get the main pan. So you can pan if you're going to run stereo on the amp, which I'll show you how to do that in a second. You can pan, of course, right? And then you kind of main level the output of the amplifier. Now, if we go back to page again, and we go to, let's see, main mix. If we go to the aux mix and you click parameters, you get the aux pan and the aux level out. Okay? So then if I go to the page to delay, and you go to the parameter, you get some of the settings, like I said, for the delay. And then if you go to the reverb, same thing, parameter gives you those additional settings. And then you're back to the main mix. The parameter button on its own, it's just those same 3. And the system button, you see the main mix, you see the input meters, and you see the memory location and the assigns. So a lot of, it's really, really packed with a lot of features that way, right? And you have the aux input up here. Okay, so that's basically it. Now, the inputs of this amp for guitar is quite amazing, because basically you can throw any pickup at it and it'll work. So like I said, I've got the Yamaha here, that works no problem. You heard the Seymour Duncan works no problem. Now, if I had put in here a K&K, which typically needs a 1 meg ohm input, and a lot of systems don't have that, so you have to buy a preamp or a preamp from K&K. But this amp has a 1 meg ohm input built into this guy right here. Now, what you can do is you can toggle between your line level settings, and then if it's too hot, you can pad, okay? So some pickups might be really hot, you can pad them down, you've got a level control, and I think this can accommodate probably any pickup in the market, and you can find a configuration that'll make it work. So very powerful that way. They really took into consideration that, while you have an acoustic amp, and you can put acoustic guitars through it. They can really address a lot of different acoustic guitars, and also microphones, and also, you know, phantom powered microphones, because there's a 48 volt supplier there as well. Okay, so we've got a 1/8 inch aux output, so let's turn this amp around again. So as we can see here, we have we've got an output source. Now the output source is mixed with channel 1 and 2, which is the direct output, and then you have output 1. With the XLR outputs, typically they're like -4, -10 to go to your house system. But this little amp has a level that you can set. So the sound house guy will love you for that, because you can set a level that makes him really happy and not be fixed, and then you can have your own level on stage. So making everybody happy, which is awesome. And your sound guy will give you a gold star for that, right? And so then we have the right monitor output. Now, if you wanted to run stereo with the amp, because you can see in the amp you have pan settings, right? So if you wanted to run stereo, you take another amp and plug it into here, and then you can do the left and right thing, right? It's not something I would use, but if I get to have a gig where I have a lot of setup time, I'd love to use that, because especially when you're working with effects, you can get some really nice stereo things happening. Okay, so we have a ground lift switch, and of course the balanced XLRs. And this pot, I believe, only works with the XLRs. It does not work with the two left and right outputs, which are TRS as well, or 1/4 inch, but they'll be a fixed volume out. And then of course your foot switch, and you can see here's where you would charge, here's your power switch, and here's your indicators for when you might charge the amplifier, right? So a packed little powerhouse, and here's where your battery is. Now the LFP battery, let me just read you a bit about that, because it's something pretty special. This is called the LFP battery. It's the Life PO4 battery safety. So it utilizes the same lithium iron phosphate batteries and protection charging circuits as the A655 since 2018. It says these batteries are not the same as lithium or the Li or lithium polymer batteries. They selected the lithium iron phosphate for its advantages in safety properties and long service life. It's thermally and chemically stable, reliable without the possibility of fires, which is awesome. It's got a long service life, a long shelf life. It exceeds that service life of many other batteries, so that's good to know. And they've also enclosed it in a metal cage. They've added battery protection circuits, so, you know, for over voltage, thermal shutdown, overcharge circuit protection, over drain protection. So they've really made sure that you have a safe amp, and it's also approved and MSDS certified. So well done, Elite Acoustics. Getting back to the features, I think we've ran through almost all these. We're getting there. Now it's got the integrated pole mount, so you can see I've got it mounted on a speaker stand right here. It weighs about 18 pounds, and the width is like 12.13, height is 11.13, and the depth is 10.55. So roughly speaking, 12 by 11 by 11 kind of thing, right? 18 pounds, and designed and assembled in the USA. And again, if you get one of these amps, always reach out to Elite Acoustics teams, because they're always looking to improve things, and I think that's pretty fantastic. Now, I was telling you about the foot switch, so let's actually put this in practice. Because I've got this, I'm going to be using this for a show, upcoming show, and I get to the great honor of opening for Matteo Mancuso, and I'm going to use this on stage. I'm going to plug it into a little foot switch like this. All right, so it's just a TRS cable plugged into this. This is a ring tip kind of foot switch. So I'm going to plug this into the foot switch right here. And upon doing that, I'm going to go back to my parameters. So right now I'm triggering the different presets or scenes by clicking the foot switch. Okay, but I don't want that. I want to be able to go silent when I'm tuning between songs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the system, and I'm going to change the assign. Well, let's try this now. Let's go to channel 1 and 2, okay? Let's see what happens. 2, you can see I've got the A and B switch. Now if I use the switch up here, I can turn them on and off. So this would be for channel 1, right? That'll be my Yamaha pickup system. If I want to use this, that. And of course I want to bring in the magnetic, which kind of gives me that snappy percussive stuff. Right? If I go back to just the Yamaha, you get body sound, but it's just not as snappy. So, right? So you got the blend of the two. So if I just wanted to have the Yamaha only, I would. If I don't want any percussion, if I want to turn the acoustic or the Yamaha off and turn on the a bit more of a thinner sound there. So, or I can keep them both on, right? So that mirrors the foot switch. I can take them both off. Click in the Seymour Duncan, and then bring in the Yamaha pickup system. So flexible that way. Now let's go to this guy, which is channel 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So theoretically, on the A switch, I'm going to have channels 1 and 2, which are 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 on the B switch, which is nothing. I've got nothing set up in that, right? So let's prove that. I'll kind of go. I'll turn off my 1 and 2. I've got nothing, right? And you can hear there's nothing going on there, like I told you. So I'll bring in channel 1 and 2, right? So when I'm on stage and I want to, tune, I just kind of hit both switches off, and I tune. Everything's silent on stage and going to the house mix. Then I'm back in, and you don't hear any pop, which is the sound guy will love you for that too, right? Okay. Now, if I wanted to mute individual channels, I could do that. I can just come to this menu right here and press the mute button, and press the mute button, and everything's dead once again, right? So that's another option. I just think it's much more handy if you have the foot switch. Now, if I hit the foot switch, they'll still stay muted, okay? So you have to come back and actually unmute them here. All right? There we go. So this overrides the switches. So that's, like I said, you need to get to know the amp so you don't end up in frustrating situations. Now again, in order for me to shut off the external sources, I have to make sure that this button's out. If it's in, I cannot shut off the external source. So you got to make sure that the button's out, all right? And then I'm back in action. So powerful, and then of course it's they're all balanced, but you have the ground lift if you got any hum problems. All right, so I think that covers most of these features on this this little guy. I forgot to tell you about the mute. So the same would be for your aux mix. If you press it, hold it, it's going to mute, okay? I don't typically use the auxes myself, but I could someday. And wow, packed with tons of features, right? Some examples for you. So I'm using the Yamaha right now with the dual source pickup system. As you heard, I've got channel 1 coming through the Yamaha pickup system, and channel 2 with the mag mic. And I've got some reverb set up. So here's my settings. If I go back to my main page, the Yamaha will be set as this. So here's my channel 1 for the Yamaha. Here's channel 2 for the mag mic. I'm going to back that off just a little bit. And I'm going to look at the other settings. So channel 1 EQ is basically the lows rolled off a bit. I'm going to bring that up a little bit more. Just basic settings. The highs down a little bit. Okay, so let's go to, you can see I've got my polarity switch on this particular system on. I've got the channel EQ, so I've got those kind of like 4 pages, right? So I got the, go to page 1 here. So I got, for each channel, if I go through it, I'm on channel 1. There's my EQ, there's my utility page, there's my compressor gate page, and there's channel EQ again, right? So Let's go to channel 2. As you can see, I've got it a bit hotter. This is my the Seymour Duncan mag mic. And here's my EQ. I'm going to turn up the bass a little back there because we were messing around with that. High is down a little bit, pretty much the same, right? Now I'm not going to touch this because I've already changed the polarity on channel 1, so we're good that way, right? And then I'm going to just bypass the filter. You can do a high pass. So you want to roll off that, so that, right? So if I stayed there, let's try this. If you're having feedback issues with the guitar on stage, that's how you would kind of deal with it, right? So there you go there. Now, yeah, if I go back to my page again, if I click this again, I'm back to the EQ, okay? I've got both channels going, so.